Hey, hey, hey.
What's up, y'all?
It's to see when you checking in.
After some years.
Shut up, it's been about 6 months. It's been about a good 6 months. And a lot can happen in 6 months, as we know, in anybody's
A lot
life.
has happened in 6 months.
Yeah.
But yeah, we are currently
We're here.
in Dublin, Ireland, which is awesome. This is technically our honeymoon. It's been 2 years since we got married. On the 10th it was. But we finally were able to make this trip happen.
Which
So,
is great.
What do you think so far?
What do I think so far? Ireland's awesome. The United States is a little bit rough in comparison to its hospitality and things like that. But, you know, that's why we're just gonna get a vacation house here.
A cottage. A cottage in the rolling hills of the Emerald Isle. Right?
Okay.
No.
So anyway, so we're just checking in because, you know, in a relationship, 6 months goes by, a year goes by, and a lot of things change. And so I think that it's important to, I guess, to cherish the growth that we've had in a short amount of time.
Yeah. Yeah. I it's hard to put into words how much growth has happened in such a short amount of time, and I didn't really understand or know or think that
Right.
there could be that much that happens, but through experiences, through books, through just living with each other day by day, it has helped me a lot to be able to understand of my role in this relationship, in our marriage, and how things work. And it's still early, obviously.
We're in year 2,
But
like 10 days past.
no,
Or what is
year.
Yeah, we're in year 2 right now.
Wouldn't it be year 3?
We're not in year 3. We got married in 2021. It's 2023 right now.
So year 1 was 2021 to 2022.
Uh-huh.
Year 2 was 2022 to 2023. So now we're entering the 3rd year.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Comment and say whether we're entering the 2nd or 3rd year, because we got married on December 10th, 2021. So December 10th, 2021 to December 10th, 2022.
This is our 2nd anniversary, so it's 2 years.
But we're entering our 3rd year. We're just starting our 3rd year. We're literally
2.5 years.
No.
We're going to 2 plus years.
Yeah, but we're entering our 3rd year because we just finished our 2nd year on December 10th.
I don't know if I'm mathing right, but I don't think that's right. I don't know.
Say what y'all think. We'll see.
Okay, whatever. Moral of the story is, I think we've only been married for 2 years this week. It was 2
That's
years
correct.
in December, meaning that we're 2 years and like X amount of days. So I guess when you want to say entering 3rd year, I think 3 years and da-da-da, but I get what you're saying. Okay, whatever. 2 years and some change. Moral of the story is, like we said, a lot of things change. A lot of like thought processes change. God remolds so many different things in your mindsets, in our mindsets. But that's the beautiful thing about relationships. That's the beautiful thing about just walking things out with God, because you could think you're somewhere, and if we look back on like things that I was saying in the beginning of a relationship a couple years ago to now, it's just the difference of like how I thought, and then you don't realize you're thinking a certain way until God, you know, is like, that's not right, and you're constantly humbled. But we're saying all this to say it's December. We're about to go into 2024, and we couldn't end off the year without posting something, updating, sharing some tidbits. So one thing that I feel like we should discuss is, what is one thing that you would say, A, that you took away from this year, and B, you would recommend for other couples or singles to take into the new year?
I would say one of the biggest things I've learned this year in terms of marriage is, because that's what you're talking about, right? There's been a lot. Some things, one of them, it's very cliche, but like the saying of never stop trying to impress or get pursue your wife or your husband. I've learned that for sure. And it's not just about what you can give or what you can do, it's actually like how you treat them, how you love, what you say, mostly your actions. That's one thing, but I don't know if that's the biggest. I think the biggest would be, it's related to that, but it's more so just embracing growth and embracing who God has made me to be within our specific marriage. Like my role, embracing the things that He puts me through, and understanding and knowing that, kind of like how you were saying the last few weeks, or I've been talking about, is like the ups and the downs and the hardships and the struggles. It's not like you just go through them because He doesn't care. He does it for a reason. And the failures, the mistakes, the past things I've done in the context of our marriage that I'm not proud of, or that I regret, or that were not the best, have helped me learn and become and come that much farther that at this point. So it's just embracing that and understanding that I don't have to be perfect, but that I can always try to do better. And that's what I suggest that anyone in a marriage, whether you're a husband or a wife, but especially as a man, as a husband, is always, always, always try and do better, but don't put so much pressure on yourself that you feel like you can't mess up or you can't fail. Because at the end of the day, that's why we are together. Like me being able to come to her and talk about things, or say like, I need help with this, or, you know, not get upset or aggressive when I don't understand something, or I'm not doing the best that I should be, or that I think I should be. And I'm still, obviously, I'm not, like I was saying, I'm not perfect, so I'm still working on that, but working through it is now a pleasurable challenge rather than something that seems like a weight or overwhelming. I think it's just part of that too, is the mindset of that embracing. It's really just a mindset of welcoming it and looking forward to it instead of carrying it like a burden. Yeah,
I can definitely relate to that. One thing I can say that I probably really took out of this year, submission to your husband is submission to God. And I think that when we read Bible verses like that, read that Bible verse, we as women tend to be like, okay. But the Lord really kind of put things plain to me one day, a couple of months ago. And the biggest thing is that we take it out of context, but there's a reason why the Lord made the man the head of the household and things like that, in a relationship, in a marriage. And so I feel like when we understand that, and we truly understand what that means, it changes the way we think of submission. Being in submission to your husband is having a gentle spirit, is being someone that allows for them to make mistakes. Even if I knew he were going to make a mistake, if the Lord calls me to submit to him, it allows for him to learn as a man. It allows for the Lord to teach him. It allows for him to grow in his shortcomings. Because if I were the person that was fighting against him, he wouldn't learn the same lesson, and all he would do is become more bitter towards me. One day when I was praying, the Lord had said, I was praying for him, and the Lord told me, if you don't submit to him, then he won't submit to me. And immediately that day I started crying, because I started to think, well, wow, I didn't think about it that way. Because a lot of times females, we like to, if our husband's doing something wrong, whether they're like, I don't know, pissing us off, being disrespectful, not treating us a certain way, whether it's more serious, like cheating or, infidelity, all that type of stuff. One thing that the Lord needs us to understand and help me to understand is that as long as I'm still doing what I'm supposed to do as a female, he will come into alignment, regardless, is basically how the Lord played it out to me. It was like, if you just do as a wife, if you continue to serve me and do what you're supposed to do as a wife for him, supporting him, loving him, doing all the things to that you can to support him and to be gentle to him, not nagging and not constantly angry and frustrated. And no, I'm not perfect in that at all, because if you know me, I'm like a firecracker person. But being able to understand my role versus like not adding fuel to a fire but adding ice is better than anything as a female, because the men really look for us to be that support system, regardless of what is going on. If they're feeling stressed or they're messing up, I would like to say that you guys look for us to be that support, even in the struggle of getting it right. And I think overall, the Lord just, when he kept speaking to me about it, was just like, if you just, even though it may not seem okay to you, submit to me, so submit to him, and he will automatically submit to me. If you don't submit to me, if you decide to do things your own way, I don't like him, he's this, he's not doing right, blah, 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 and you go try to do your own thing and you be independent of the alignment that God placed us in, he's not going to fall into line. And one thing I can say in that given situation, which, I mean, there's many situations and like facets of a relationship, but in our one situation that for me was like trusting him with like budgeting and our finances and stuff like that. I've always been an independent person when it comes to like money, and okay, like I want my money, I do my own thing, kind of thing. When you're single, you do that, that's what it is. And so for me, it was hard to like surrender that. But in surrendering that, it allowed for the Lord to show me how, even though the weaknesses I saw in him when it came to certain things, the Lord realigned things, and it made it so much better than what I could have thought for myself trying to go my own way. And so any advice I could give to anybody in a relationship, especially females, is play the role, submit to the role that God gave you as a female, as a woman, as a supporter, as a gentle spirit. That doesn't mean you can't be, you, but he gave us gentle spirits for a reason. He gave us a mothering spirit for a reason. He gave us that loving, kind, and caring spirit for a reason. So to neglect that is almost like neglecting the way God made us. So in that submission to your husband, you'll see how God will flourish him. If your husband's acting out, I don't know what people's husbands are doing, or their boyfriend, whatever relationship you're in, if they aren't doing a certain thing, now granted, this obviously goes for marriage, but in the same breath, if you're going towards marriage and you're looking at those type of things, look at where you are, take introspection of yourself, because yes, so-and-so may be messing up all over the place here and there, but there's always something that you can do in yourself that can be changed. And once you realize that, it changes your whole outlook on a relationship. It changes the whole trajectory of how you move. Amen.
So what would you say to someone who's a wife who would say like that, or who would like combat what you just explained with submitting to my husband means like I'm lesser than him, or that I would have to beckon to his every call and need, or something like that?
Well, my question would be, why wouldn't you want to beckon to his every need? I don't know, because if I expect you to do that for me, why would I not do that for you? So I think women in society have gotten so used to just being like the independent woman that you don't even allow for a man to take on his role. So now we have a bunch of macho, manly like women, which I was, that I can do anything, I don't need no man, type of person. And so you come out of alignment with where the Lord has you, but you want a man all day, but you want to still be that independent, I don't need no man woman. You can't do that. It's either you have to be in alignment with what the Lord wants you to do. So I would just combat it with, try him. That's what I would say. Try God and do it the way he would want you to do it. Take advice, or even actually go up and pray and ask the Lord yourself, because at the end of the day I can say something all day, but go speak to God and get that revelation for yourself so that you can understand, is this something true? Because there's some things that I didn't want to hear either, and was like, but he had to continue to break down some walls of my own pride and independence that helped me to get to that place too. And obviously it's a constant lesson, it's a constant relearning. It's not like you're gonna be perfect in a day. It's not like you can't be a bold and strong woman. A strong woman doesn't mean that being submissive doesn't mean you're a weak woman. It means you're actually strong. Because if I have to be flamboyant and outwardly crazy and all that type of stuff, that just shows my weakness. That just shows people how weak I am, because I'm using that as a defense mechanism. But a woman that can shut her mouth when her husband's yelling at her, or in an argument that can stop speaking, a woman that can choose not to feed into negativity or anger or the feelings of frustration that come in marriage, and rather support him and love him even when it's hard to do that, even when he's messing up and it hurts you. That's stronger than somebody that goes crazy, that don't need no man, that cusses men out. I think that's, and not even I know that's stronger, because it takes a lot more to hold back from anger, to hold back certain things that you do, to submit things like money. It's submitting, trusting somebody. That takes a lot. And that's strength.
That's true. And to piggyback off that, I would just say too, like, to husbands, when your wife makes that effort or decision to really truly live and embody the role that God talks about and says that wives should embody, that's not a free pass to be a dictator in the relationship, or a someone who just stomps all over your wife, or thinks that they need to, like I mentioned, beckon to your every need or call. Or no, you treat your wife as a treasure, as a prize, and you consistently pursue her, at the same time of taking on the responsibility of leading the household. That's what it's about. It's not about you getting the authority and responsibility and the ability to call the shots by default. It's because that's your responsibility as a man and as the head of the household. And one thing another this year that really that's probably as equally as important as what I touched on earlier as far as what I've learned, is that, like Amber said, we can't be true leaders of the household if we aren't led by God ourselves, because really we're not the leaders, it's him. And just as much as you submitting to myself helps me submit to God, I have to, doesn't matter how much she submits, it may help me, but at the end of the day it's my decision and my responsibility and my choice to submit to God and let him lead, as opposed to my own desires, my own wants. It's not a, like I said, it's not a free ticket to abuse authority or go and spend money on things you want and not what is best for the family, or make decisions that would benefit yourself only and not the family. No, it's a huge task and responsibility, and as much as it is huge, it's also hugely rewarding. So
I mean, even just to piggyback off of that, even though you're saying all that, I'm telling you, people, be a praying spouse, because at the end of the day, he can say that, yeah, it's my choice to submit to God. Yeah. But if I'm praying, them prayers are doing something. The Lord didn't create prayer for no reason. So in the midst of that, if you're constantly praying for your husband, you're constantly praying, but then you're doing your role and playing your part, it's going to work out. If I'm acting a fool and he's constantly praying and he's doing his part with the Lord and what he's supposed to be doing, and he's praying for me, I'm going to come back, because God is that faithful. And I think that that's something huge that people need to understand, that the Lord is faithful. There's no reason. There's a reason why we pray. There's a reason why we do the things that are laid out in the Bible, because he does a work in us, and even when we can't see it. And I think that's the thing that we worry about the most, is that, oh, I prayed for him like yesterday and nothing happened. Well, that doesn't, honestly, things are happening, you just don't see it. And that's the better way to really understand how God works. Just because it's not instantaneous that you see it does not mean that the Spirit is not moving, and what he's doing in the Spirit behind the closed doors isn't changing somebody's heart or changing something, the way that we think. And I think that that's something that as believers we have to get out of, believers and non-believers, wherever you are, just get out of that mindset of, I have to see it to believe it type of thing. Because once it comes to fruition, you're like, oh my gosh, and the Lord will make it known to you. You remember when you prayed for this, and this is what happened. And the same with us being here in Ireland. Like, finances, when it comes to traveling, all these things were always something that we struggled with. But the prayers of, God, I want to be here, I want to travel somewhere, God, I want to do this, I want to do that. A lot of people worry about, well, people are able to travel, but I don't know how they have the money and this and that and da-da-da-da. The Lord makes a way. You ask the Lord. I remember praying. I don't know what he was praying for, but I'm sitting here like, Lord, I want to travel. I want to take my business everywhere. We're photographers as well, but I want to take my business and be able to glorify you in it. I want to meet beautiful people. I want to be able to capture beautiful people in places. I want to do those things, and a continual prayer of that again and again and again and again. And he just opened up doors. I mean, and a lot of it's us. Like, we hinder God from working. He said something to me the other day, and I can't even remember it because it was beautiful. But it was just like, we are the ones that can either halt or can halt the blessings that God is trying to give. Like, we're the ones that can stop him from doing something. I remember praying for God, praying to God for us to be able to travel, and he just goes, get a passport. And I'm thinking, well, I really got the money for that, da-da-da-da-da. So months go by until we're like, okay, let's get the passport. But imagine if I would have just got the passport, like, as soon as the Lord said it, go get the passport. He would have made a way, like he made a way for us now. Like, he would have made a way for me. And it's that type of trusting and believing in God and what he can do and how he will move when you pray. It's just amazing. And I think that we take for granted just the vastness of God, which is crazy, because he's in everything, and he made everything. He's in everything. And I think that as humans, our minute thinking stops us from understanding that he does the impossible, and he will continue to do the impossible for you. And that's one thing that I always want people to know. He will do the impossible. You keep praying. You keep doing that business. You keep asking for that husband. You keep praying for that husband that's cheating. You do what the Lord wants you to do in that prayer, and let him do the work. Amen. This is a good day.
Yep. I think that's just it. It's really just, whatever the context, just don't give up. Keep praying. Like she said, if you're a husband, pray for your wife. If you're a wife, pray for your husband. And I know we have done that, and it's the fruits have shown, along with praying to be able to travel, along with praying for our business, praying for our family members, the whole nine. And the Lord is faithful. The Lord is good. He always provides. He never fails. And you can trust in him more than you can trust in anything else in this world. So don't give up.
With that, we will see you in 2024.
Yes, sir.
Great.
And we just thank you guys for giving us the time and watching this video.
Yes.
And Father, we thank you too for helping us to see one you. Bye guys, we love you.